Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. We're going to talk to y'all about this weather we've been having and do a little update on the goldenrod and tell you what we've figured out here. So y'all be sure to stick around for that.
Lots of times y'all get to go around with us on evening chores, but I'm not sure we've ever took you around in what our morning routine is. It ain't really nothing special. Come on, cow. I'm not giving them too much yet. Them calves ain't really started eating on much hay. Lovey likes to nibble on it though. Our first bloom of goldenrod was August 5th. And that was the one that just kind of blew our minds because it was way too early. So we were very doubtful that one was really going to predict our first frost because that was just, way too early, but it was very interesting. So roll on down the road a month later, well, actually 6 weeks after that goldenrod bloomed, which would have typically been your prediction for your first frost. It didn't predict a first frost, but it predicted a major cool down. We went from what, like 90s?
Yeah, to like 70s and 60s.
Yes, it was a huge cool down. And from that point, we've really been in more of like fall-like weather since that point. We went straight from summer to fall. Now, we've had hot days in between, but not like what we were having this summer. So, I guess you could say it didn't predict a first frost, but it predicted a cool down. Now, y'all know we made a video and had a second blooming on goldenrod, which is something I've never seen, and I always pay attention. And so I'm thinking that the way the weather's been this year, everything has just been off. Heck, y'all, I even seen an apple tree in full bloom about a month ago. Now, y'all know that ain't right. I should have grabbed a picture of it, but it was just it was in passing, and I didn't stop and take a picture. But the second blooming of goldenrod was
September the 4th.
Yeah, almost exactly a month later from when we saw the first blooming. And that one actually did predict our first frost. Now, when we call our first frost, we're talking about here at our house was our first frost. There were frost, a few miles from here that are in a little bit lower lying areas and stuff that happened a little bit earlier than that. But our first frost here at our house was October 23rd. Mm-hmm. And now where we live, we almost got our own little microclimate here. It tends to be just a little bit warmer right here on top of this hill where our house sits versus anywhere else around here. So our first frost was October 23rd, and that was right at 6 weeks after we saw the second blooming of goldenrod. And then we ended up actually having what I call a killing frost. It was like November 1st or 2nd. But like I said, that first frost, October 23rd, we had frost laying down here amongst the apple trees and all the low-lying areas right around here. And so I would say that it done a really good job predicting that. Don't you think so, Megan?
Yep, and I know that some folks are going to come in the comments and talk about things are not predicted. So let me just tell you my opinion on that. Back in Bible times, there was no weatherman, right? Back, even heck, here, 60, 70 years ago, people didn't have TVs. They had to look at the signs that God sends us to know, there's a season to plant and all that. So I feel like, God puts these signs out for us to let us know what's coming. So that's just my personal opinion on it. But it was pretty cool to sit down and write down the dates and see how accurate it was. And it was almost to the day, both times.
Yeah, both times.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind that once we went off the date the goldenrod was in full bloom. So it bloomed for probably a week or two. You know, goldenrod seems to stay in bloom for a long time. So we just went from when it was like in full bloom and like at its peak is what we went off of.
So it's not exactly the dates the videos came out?
No, it's not. The videos were recorded on different dates than what they came out.
Right. But by the actual full bloom, I mean, I think that's something good. That's 2 years in a row now that we've really paid attention to it.
Yep, and you can guarantee we'll be paying attention next year too.
Yep.
But, so we just thought we'd kind of update y'all on that because we've actually had several comments on random videos about, you know, wanting to know what was going on with the goldenrod and stuff. And we actually kind of wanted to make a video of the first frost and make it during that, but, you know, it's just something we weren't able to do. But part of our normal morning routine now is watering these raised beds because it refuses to rain around here anymore. We've went from, so today is September,
It's November, honey.
No, why did I say September? The day is November 10th. And if I've kept up with it right, we've only had a ½ inch since about the 3rd or 4th week in August. And that's it. We've got days, right now it's supposed to be raining. It's been calling for rain all week long today. And as you can see, we've just got cloudy skies. There's really, when you look at it on your weather apps, there's really no good chance of rain at all today. And I don't think it's gonna be.
And we got wildfires around, and
Yeah, it's getting bad.
yeah, it's kind of scary how dry it is
I don't think I've ever seen it this dry.
this time of year.
This time of year for this long. I don't know if I've ever seen it this dry in the summertime. The only thing that's helping us right now is we haven't had the summertime heat to deal with. If we'd been this long without rain in the middle of the summer when most of our droughts come, oh gosh, it would have been bad. But what's making it so bad right now is the leaves are falling. It hasn't rained at all since the leaves started falling, so all of that thick leaf layer is laying on the ground, dry as a bone, and I mean, you could literally probably take a cigarette and throw it out the window right now, and you would start the biggest wildfire you've ever seen.
Please don't do that.
Yeah, please don't do that. I was looking at, I was wondering what that was running across the hill, but it's the hogs coming across over there. One thing we've definitely got good at is trying to keep everything watered, and I feel like we're not even doing this stuff any good. It's almost like we're just keeping it alive because, look, y'all, I water this every single day. Okay, there is some moisture down in there deep, but the top is just, it won't sustain moisture.
Now that hay's probably helping.
That hay is actually helping
Yeah.
that right there. Look at this one over here that don't have no mulch on it, which now I haven't been watering these beds any since we harvested the stuff out. There's still onions in here, but look at that. All of that, you have to dig down a few inches and it's still not even really moist down in there. It's just a little darker soil. That is dry as a bone right there. And I probably have been watering these maybe twice a week where we've got collards and our greens and other stuff. I water them every single day. And we don't have no water turned on. Guess what? We had another water hose bust last night. So we ended up having to turn the water off. It's just dust. So after today, we don't have much of a chance of rain at all in sight. So I don't know, y'all. It's been some interesting weather. So all of our cover crops are just holding on. None of them are thriving. None of them are what I would call look good. We got the one up here in the garden beside the house. It actually looks the best. That was the first one that was planted. So it had one good rain on it after it was planted. and it's not had any rain since. The cover crop across the creek in that garden is just holding on. It was planted about the same time as that one, so it's had one decent rain on it. And then the other cover crops that y'all have watched, I think y'all watched me in one of the videos sow a cover crop, and then I've actually planted 3 more patches since then, and one of them hasn't sprouted at all. And then the other 3 are up, but they're just sitting there. They sprouted and that's it. They've been this tall for a month now, and they're just sitting there. They're not growing. I'm scared that it's going to finally get so dry that they actually die and dry up. And I really think that we've probably lost some of it. But
the beautiful thing about red clay is it does hold moisture longer than a lot. So that's the one thing we got going for us.
It does. And you know, like I said, we had just enough. I sowed all of those crops the day before we had the half-inch of rain, and that half-inch of rain was enough to get them sprouted, and that was it. They're right now, it's awful up there, but so I don't know what's going on with this weather. My daddy always used to say it's too dry to rain, and I know that sounds kind of funny because like, well, it's got to rain at some point in time, but when it gets this dry, which doesn't happen a lot, but when it does get this dry, it takes a major system to come through that's pumping a lot of moisture for us to actually start getting rain again. And what I mean by that is like a hurricane come up through here or some kind of major front come up through, because these little fronts that come across, and as they come across North Carolina, or they're coming from the west most of the time, and as they come across, it's like you watch them on the radar, and once they hit our area of North Carolina, they just start fizzling out. And I'm going to say it's because that our atmosphere here is so dry that there's not enough moisture in these fronts for it to sustain a rain shower or something over top of us. So it just kind of fizzles out. If you had that same front come over top of us on a rainy pattern, if we'd been in a rainy pattern, oh, it would just be dumping tons of rain. Like, we'd be getting rain right now out of these clouds. But it's, like I said, our atmosphere's got so dry that it just can't rain. It's too dry to rain. His daddy always said, it's too dry to rain. So we've got our fingers crossed that something ends up coming up here, because we need it bad.
If y'all remember back when we were talking about our hay, we had a lot of extra hay this year.
We did.
And, you know, we said maybe something's up. God provides for reasons we may not know. And y'all, we've been feeding hay for what, 2 or 3 weeks?
Longer than that.
A month.
Yeah, well, I started
at least a month.
I finally put a round bale in for the cows last weekend. And they've been eating on that, but before that, we've been feeding square bales like crazy. Because
look at our pasture. I have a feeling in this area, cattle prices are about to drop because they're going to flood the market, people that don't have hay, unfortunately. But the grass is gone, and we don't usually feed hay this early in the season. We usually start feeding hay December-ish. And like I said, we've already been feeding it for almost a month. So, yeah, I'm glad that we have that extra. I know that.
In a normal year when we're getting water, cool season fescue would have been absolutely loving these temperatures that we have, and our pastures probably would have been flourishing. Like, they would have been amazing right now. But the fact that we've been dry, it never. So usually in this area we have like a spring flush of growth and a fall flush of growth on fescue. We got the spring rush, we didn't get the fall rush. It come out of summer being kind of dormant because of the heat and just never recovered because it didn't get the rain. And it's suffering big time. And because of that, like I said, our pastures are suffering. Now we're feeding hay. We've got these 3 steers over here that we're trying to grow out. We're feeding them hay and feed. And normally, if we'd have had those 3 steers on a normal year, they would have been living, you know, off of the grass, and that grass would really be making them grow. Where right now, I mean, whether we want to or not, we have no choice. They've got to live on hay and feed. That's it. And I don't know, it's getting kind of worrisome. The easiest thing that I've ever found to water stuff with. We'll do a little plug in here. And that's using one of these Gilmore water hydrants, or well, I don't know if you call that a water hydrant, water hose end. And get these little, I think these are made by Orbit. And they screw right onto the end of these. And you know, water hose ends get all kinds of fancy. They get crazy expensive. And in my opinion, they don't work that well either. This one right here serves as a dual purpose. You take that off, this right here is stout enough, you can run over it, you can do whatever. We've used these for, well, ever since we've been here on our place. We have them on every single water hose. So in my opinion, these are absolutely the best. You're looking at now, these used to you could buy them for like $5 a piece. Now they're like $10, I think, on Amazon. And these are roughly $6, $5 or $6. So for $15, in my opinion, you've got the best combination to water your plants and your raised beds over any kind of fancy thing where you turn the nozzles and stuff like that. Those, for us, always break. They last maybe a season, and they just break on us. So over the years, we figured out that these are the best, and this is what works best for us. And we've definitely figured that out in the last few weeks, that you know, these things right here has earned its keep.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video today. I hope you learned a little something. And y'all pray for rain. We really, really, really need it. But anyways, guys, like I said, appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate you being here. And we'll see you on the next one.
Have a good one, y'all.